Why is it that you're so kind and patient with strangers, but harsh and snappy with the people at home? That's exactly the question I asked myself the other day. Because I was a total star. I was patient with my colleagues. I was perfectly pleasant on a very long call with the hospital. I was even super nice to the delivery man. A total star. Until my husband showed up, and in seconds, bam, that star disappeared. I'm definitely not proud of that. And it made me wonder. Maybe this is far more common than most of us want to admit, because it could show up in different ways. It's that moment when you're driving home and suddenly realize, why am I not as excited to get home? It's that please not now feeling when you know you're out of energy and just want to rest. It's that crushing guilt at 11 p.m. when you're in bed thinking, I hate that I snapped at them again today. If you can relate to any of this, stay with me. Because today, I want to unpack why this happens and how we can start changing it without burning out or turning into someone you're not. Before we dive in, here's something most of us miss. The world usually sees snapshots of you. A 30-minute meeting, a quick phone call, 2 minutes at the checkout line. Those are all just highlights. But your family, they experience your defaults. They live with your baseline, your everyday tone, your unedited reactions, and how you show up behind closed doors. This doesn't mean you're being inauthentic. It just means that different environments pull on different parts of you. And to understand why this gap exists, we have to look at why the outside world takes so much from us in the first place. 1. The public shield. When you're out in the world, you're usually wearing what I call your public shield. And for most of us, that never felt optional. It felt required. We all grew up hearing things like, behave, act nice, put on a smile. Or my personal favorite, what will people say? So we learned early on that being pleasant and composed around others is what good people do. But we also learned something else, that this version of us is temporary. It's not our whole day, it's not our whole life, and that's why we can sustain the effort. And let's be honest, there's usually a lot at stake out there. Your reputation, your role, maybe even your paycheck. So you think before you speak. You manage your tone. You hold things back because you know mistakes out there have a cost. Then there's the other side of it. Some interactions don't take much from us because they're pretty much surface level, like when you're dealing with a stranger. If things get uncomfortable, you can excuse yourself or walk away. The truth is, when you're out in the world, a lot of what you're doing is protection, regulation, and image management. Some people might call that being fake. It's not. It's manners. It's social intelligence. It's knowing how to behave in different situations and with different groups of people. It only starts to feel fake when the world describes you as kind and wonderful, while the people at home regularly experience you as harsh and difficult. Because that public shield has to come off somewhere, and for most of us, it comes off at home. 2. The safe home. Home is where your system finally exhales. It feels like permission to finally let go, to stop holding it all in. It's the one place where you expect to be loved, even when you're not at your best. But here's the catch. You're rarely operating at 100%. All day you jump between roles, the problem solver, the professional, the caregiver, the decision maker. And you often do all that without a real break. So by the time you're with the people you love, you're already depleted. And this is where the safety trap happens. Feeling safe lowers your inhibitions. Feeling exhausted lowers your tolerance. So you're in a space where your guard is down and your capacity is low. No wonder your reactions come out faster, sharper, and less filtered than you ever intended. Your loved ones aren't getting your best. They're getting whatever is left. Now, aside from being exhausted, sometimes your loved ones get your sharp edge because they're simply not strangers. This is why things escalate so fast at home. The people you love don't just share your space, they share your history, memories, triggers, old pain. Ever had a moment when you suddenly lost it after someone at home asked a simple question? Like, what's for dinner? Or, did you handle what we spoke about? To them, it looks like you're being mean over nothing, but to you, they just pressed a button. The one about the unfinished argument from 2 days ago, or the tone you've told them doesn't work for you, or the years you felt underappreciated or ignored. Your sharp reply is rarely about the question. It's about the weight of what hasn't been resolved yet. It isn't about now, it's about then, because history is loud. But it's not always about the past. Sometimes it's about the future. I see this in myself with my kids. They do something small and suddenly my reaction is bigger than the moment, because my mind jumps ahead to what this could mean or how it might affect them long run. That's when concern turns into control and protection comes out with a directive tone. If a stranger does the same thing, it barely registers. But when it's someone who really matters to you, it hits differently. Your love turns into fear, and that fear turns into harshness. So notice what's happening at home. Your exhaustion drains your present capacity. Your history drags you into the past, and your fear pushes you into an imagined future. The result? A version of you that is tired, triggered, and afraid, showing up as impatient, critical, and loud in the one space where you actually just need to be present. The impact. So how does all of this actually affect us? First, your relationships suffer. Out in the world, we usually regulate ourselves proactively because we don't know how some people might react, or because we know there's a risk we want to avoid. But at home, we assume the love is always secure. So we tell ourselves, they'll understand, I'll make it up later. But here's the paradox. The very safety you trust becomes the reason you delay your attention. You overestimate how much the relationship can absorb. This is what many of us describe as taking the ones we love for granted. It's not that you stopped loving them. It's that you stopped treating the relationship with intentionality. You just let it exist until one day the damage becomes undeniable. And the sad truth is, we usually prevent loss where we fear it, but we rarely anticipate it at home. And beyond how you show up for strangers and for those you love, there is you. You suffer. When you're overly nice, you often become a convenience, and convenient people are usually overlooked. Instead of fulfillment or growth, you absorb more pressure, you pick up more slack, and you overextend yourself. And when you carry that depletion home, you hate how you show up there too. And then it hits you. I'm losing on both ends, feeling undervalued where you thought you'd be appreciated and staying dimmed where you actually want to shine. Because in essence, this is about your capacity. Think of your energy like a battery. Every role you play, every conversation, every demand pulls from it. And when your battery is already flashing red, snapping at others isn't a character flaw. It's a signal. Because you can't forget the human doing all the showing up. You need some downtime. You need to discharge and recharge. Not through distractions, but through things that genuinely help bring your battery back up. Through sleep, rest, silence, movement, music, or whatever you choose. Because it's not just about fixing your tone with strangers or family. It's really about remembering that you do get to choose how you show up. The shift, interrupting old patterns. So, what can actually make a difference? Trying harder to be nicer? Not really. Creating little shifts before the old patterns take over? Yes, that's more like it. So, let's start with the first shift. Create transitional checkpoints. Most of us carry the entire weight of the day and just dump it on the people we love when we see them. So what's really missing is a moment to reset before you can relate. And that's where transition comes in. Moments that clearly mark, I'm leaving one role and entering another. And there are a few simple ways to create these transitions. I call them the buffer, the walk, and the shedding. The buffer is all about stillness before engagement. If you drive, this is your moment. When you turn off the engine, sit there for 60 seconds. Don't check your phone. Don't move. Let that be the moment the pace of your day shuts off with the engine. And make a conscious decision to leave the hustle in the driveway so you can bring the peace when you enter home. Now, the walk is all about intentional movement, whether it is from the car to the door or from your desk to the living room. Don't walk mindlessly. Walk like you would before an important meeting. Let every step release some of the stress. Picture the faces of the people you're about to see. Picture them happy to see you and you happy to see them. And with every step, remind yourself, I'm walking into an important space where I'm going to be with important people, my family. So, am I bringing the right energy with me? The third way to create that transition is through what I call the shedding. This is about letting go of what came before. Change the clothes you wore for work. Take a shower, put away your laptop, switch off the light to your home office. You're not just removing or turning off things. You're shedding the energy of the previous role so it doesn't spill into the next one. The second shift is for when you're already in it. Catch yourself in the reaction. When you're not at your best, you've probably heard someone say, just breathe, or count to 10. It can be annoying, I know. But before you roll your eyes, here's why that advice actually works. When you're triggered, the reactive part of your brain kicks in automatically, and its only job is to protect you. So, if you react immediately, you reinforce that stress and threat response. But if you give yourself around 6 seconds, the intensity starts to soften because you're giving your thinking brain the time it needs to take the lead. So, the next time you feel yourself getting impatient, remember, it's a timing issue. Buy yourself a few seconds. Exhale, look away, count, change your posture. Just let those 6 seconds pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because in those seconds, you're giving your system time to shift from reflex to choice. So, what's your choice? 6 seconds of pause now or 6 hours of repair later? This brings us to the third and final shift. Stop assuming, start communicating. Unfortunately, we're often harsher with the people we love because we assume that they should just know. They should know I'm tired. They should know what's going on. But that assumption is usually where things start to go sideways. So instead of assuming and instead of reacting, try saying it out loud. Say what's going on and what you need. I'm really exhausted. Could you handle dinner tonight? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm barely keeping up right now. Could we give this more focus tomorrow? Or to your kids, you can say, hey guys, mommy needs 10 minutes of quiet before we can play. I know you might hesitate to say it out loud. I know it can feel uncomfortable or like it won't really change anything, but it's actually one of the most protective things you can do for a relationship. And it works both ways. When you communicate like this, you remove the guesswork and you invite your partner and family to do the same and to even initiate more support. Just remember, don't only communicate when you're struggling, share the good moments too. Because that's how communication becomes connection, not stress. These were the 3 shifts that could help you redirect your energy and manage your tone. Some of them might feel awkward at first, but trust me, any real change feels forced before it feels freeing. And that initial discomfort, it's the scratch you need to start erasing and replacing that old pattern. Being seen as kind and graceful by the world is nice, but being experienced as kind and loving by the people who matter most, that's a legacy. Today we looked at why it feels easier to be on for the outside world and off at home, and how that shapes our behavior and our relationships. And here's my invite to you. Tonight, don't just ask yourself if you were productive. Ask yourself where you protected your capacity. Because how you show up at home isn't about effort. It's about what you have left after giving the world its share. So, don't give the world your gold and bring your family the dust. Protect your inside first so you can show up the way you want to for the people you love. Let me know in the comments below what stood out most for you in today's episode. I appreciate every support you give me for my channel. And always remember, you've got this. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.